Chapter 18, The Storm on Sunday. The next day, on Sunday morning, Jessalyn and I stared out the window at the little rivers of rain, turning our backyard home plate into a wading pool. "We should head over to the church soon," Jessalyn said, as if I didn't know. "We can't be late." In addition to saving souls over at First Fellowship, Daddy's job was turning on lights and the ceiling fans, shutting windows tight against the rain, or opening them wide to let the good Lord's sunshine in. Our job was to get ourselves to junior choir practice 10 minutes before Mrs. Simpson played the first hymn. Days like this, I wish my daddy was a veterinarian or a taxi cab driver, anything but a preacher. I shut my eyes, wishing I could pull Emma's quilt off the bed in Mama's sewing room, cover up on the sofa next to the window, and read Nancy Drews to my heart's content. "Do you think the rain will stop by the time we get to the church?" I asked. Before Jessalyn could answer, somebody started bamming hard on the front door. "Glory, let me in! Hurry!" Frankie's hair was plastered down from the rain. His glasses were fogged over. He was dripping puddles of water. "Hold your horses, Frankie." I stepped back away from the door. "What are you doing here?" He held up what was left of a soggy piece of paper. "This was in our mailbox for my daddy from the pool committee. The pool is opening. Anybody can come." Jessalyn led Frankie into the kitchen. When she smoothed the notice out on the table, it started to rip. The ink was blurred, but there it was in black and white. Pool opening for July 4th. "You reckon this means I can have my birthday party there? And you and Laura and everybody can come?" "I won't believe it till I see the sign with my very own eyes," I said. "Let's go." "Have you looked outside?" Jessalyn asked. "Nobody goes to a swimming pool, open or closed, in this weather." I didn't care. I wanted to be sure the pool closed sign was down. "Frankie, get the umbrella, the big green one in the hall closet." I gave him the hairy eyeball. He better follow me quick. We're supposed to be at church before 11. Daddy'll kill us if we show up drenching wet and late. "Well, if you want to worry about being late to the church for the first time in our entire lives, head on upstairs and get your Sunday clothes on, Miss Priss," I told her, opening the umbrella. "Me and Frankie are going to the pool." It didn't take long before Jessalyn was kicking off her shoes and grabbing another umbrella. I was smiling big as all get out. Purple clouds filled up the sky as she and I hiked up our shorts and waded barefoot through the warm, muddy water. "You should have kept your shoes on," Frankie stepped around a big brown puddle. "This stuff is full of germs, all the dead bugs and dog dew in the street." "My science book says rainwater is polluted, not much different than the baby pool down at Fireman's Park, if you ask me. Not that we'd sloshed around barefoot in the pee pool with the babies lately." "Don't be such a sissy. It's just mud and rainwater," Jessalyn said. "You need to get your nose out of those science books, Frankie." Once she changed her mind about being late for church, she was tromping through the water ahead of us, like this was the most fun she'd had since joining the pep squad. When we got to the community pool, the three of us stood in front of the fence and stared. Sure enough, that closed sign was covered up by a big piece of cardboard tacked up on the fence. The rain had faded the paint, making it look like my kindergarten art projects, but I could read the words plain as day. "Pool opening soon. Hanging moss picnic here. All welcome." I stared at the sign so long I thought my eyes might burn it clean in two. "What happened to make your daddy and them change their mind?" I asked Frankie. "Well, maybe whatever was broken got fixed. His voice cracked, and he looked away from the sign. Maybe something good will come of this stupid summer, and I'll get to have my pool party. I kicked water at Frankie just to see him jump. And then for the fun of it, Jessalyn and I started singing at the top of our lungs. We opened our mouths and let the raindrops in and the songs out. We started with glory, glory, hallelujah. And we ended with when the saints go marching in, letting the mud squish between our toes, just like it did when we were little playing in the backyard. Frankie looked at us like we were crazy. What's the matter? I asked him. Aren't you happy that we can swim now? For once, Frankie didn't have a single thing to say, not even a quote out of his stupid encyclopedias about how many inches of rainfall Mississippi got every summer. But Jessalyn and I kept on squishing and stomping and staring at that sign. We stopped singing when Frankie pointed over Jessalyn's shoulder. Hey, who's that? Driving that station wagon so slow. Frankie crinkled up his nose and stared across the street. Jessalyn and I turned at the same time, and of course we knew exactly who it was sitting in that station wagon with his arm hanging out the window in the rain. What are you all doing out here? I thought the preacher's kids weren't supposed to sing on Sunday except in church. Robbie flashed that Elvis smile at Jessalyn, and right then and there, she stopped stomping in puddles. You're just jealous that we're having so much fun. We're celebrating, I told him. See that sign? The pool's going to open again. Robbie looked at the fence gate. I saw his lips moving and another big smile start on his face when he got to the part of the sign that said, "All welcome." I dare you to get out of that car, I told him. Nothing stopping you from singing with us. Nothing but the fact that he was 16 years old and probably thought playing in rain puddles was something you gave up way before you got a driver's license. So when Robbie Fox swung open his door, kicked his pointy leather shoes back inside the car, and stepped out, I was bowled over. Here's a good song for Sunday morning. In a voice Elvis wouldn't have minded one bit, Robbie belted out, 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. Robbie grabbed Jessalyn's hand, and we all laughed our fool heads off, marching through those rivers of water. All except for Frankie. When Jessalyn and Robbie ran off laughing and splashing together, Frankie stayed on the sidewalk, staring into the mud. My brother doesn't like him, he said, frowning across the street at Robbie. He's trying to take JT's place on the football team. I don't know why he had to move to Hanging Moss. Robbie was the star of his team in North Carolina, I said. The star, huh? Frankie rubbed his arm. JT had popped him so hard it left a new black bruise. So how come he didn't stay there? Maybe it was because Frankie looked so pitiful, standing there with his socks squished down and his shoes soaking wet and his hair slicked back and raindrops starting up on his glasses again. Or maybe it was because I was so happy that the pool was opening and everything was going back to normal. But before I knew it, my words spilled out like the rain falling out of the sky. It's a secret while he's here. Don't tell a single soul. I looked over my shoulder at Jessalyn and her boyfriend, jumping in puddles and splashing each other. Promise? Frankie nodded his head. But I was in such a hurry to blab, I didn't wait for him to pinky swear, which surely would have sealed the secret between us. Back in North Carolina, Robbie got thrown in jail, even if it was for doing the right thing for a colored friend of his. His mama got mad and sent him here to his aunt's because she was embarrassed. He even got his picture in the paper, eating with his friend at a lunch counter that was only for white people. I nudged closer to Frankie. When he glanced over across at Robbie, I saw a look I've never seen in my whole entire life on Frankie's face. It was a look of pure hatefulness. Your sister's boyfriend has colored friends? He was in jail? I realized what I had done by telling. My heart about jumped into the mud puddle that I was standing in. I should have kept my mouth shut. Forget it, Frankie. Pretend I didn't say anything. It was just something I heard. I willed myself to stop telling anything more about Robbie's secret. You mean he's like one of those freedom worker people? Frankie asked. The people messing up our town? No, he's not messing up anything. He's just here visiting his aunt. I grabbed Frankie's hand to make him look away. If Jessalyn finds out I told you, she'll never speak to me again. And she's just starting to be my friend again. Don't go telling Robbie's secret. Robbie didn't cross his heart or promise not to tell. I gotta go, was all he said. And then he took off down the street. And all I could think of was how somebody who cares so much about the moon, the stars, and lightning bugs, how they could have a face that mean and hateful. Jessalyn and Robbie were singing so loud they didn't notice me biting my lip to keep from crying. While their song went down to 23 bottles of beer on the wall, the knot in my stomach got bigger. Time for me to get out of here, Robbie said when he finished the last verse. See you tomorrow, Jessalyn. I heard him humming all the way back to his car. Jessalyn and I ran down Oak Street past the library, me holding my breath and praying Frankie could keep a secret. Before I knew it, we were next to the back door choir entrance to Daddy's church, soaking wet and barefooted. We stopped skipping and we turned beet red. Mrs. Simpson stood in front of the junior choir. They were decked out all in white robes like a band of angels lined up to march into church. Waiting to lead the procession was our daddy, Brother Joe, with his preacher voice going. In a serious, stern tone, he said, Gloriana and Jessalyn, get on home and change. You still have time to get to the choir loft before I begin my sermon. We put our heads down and we slugged home in the drizzle, not talking until we were at our own back door. Daddy's mad, Jessica said as we turned the hose on to wash off our feet. I hope he never finds out about Tupelo. You didn't tell, did you, Glory? I crossed my fingers behind my back, which meant my lie didn't count half as bad. I didn't tell about Tupelo. I kept our secret. But, well, I'd only kept half of the secret. The rain stopped. The sun was pushing through the clouds. We hurried inside to put on our church dresses and slick down our wet hair. Right about the time that Jessalyn and I slipped into the upstairs choir loft together, Mrs. Simpson banged out the first notes of The Saints of God. I looked toward the end of my hard wooden pew. No Frankie. Was he cutting church this morning? Then Brother Joe raised up in his pulpit and beamed toward the congregation. But I got the idea that Daddy wasn't exactly feeling patient and brave and true in his heart toward me and Jessalyn. Let's bow our heads, he said, and everything got quiet. Thinking about the pool opening, hearing the soft piano music playing, and seeing the sun shining through the church windows should have filled me with happiness. But before Daddy could say his first amen, I squeezed my eyes shut. Please, God, keep Robbie's secret safe with Frankie.